Hey guys, I thought I would do a live stream. I've not done a live stream in a few weeks. It's probably going to be a little bit shorter than usual, but we'll see how it goes. One of the reasons I'm doing a live stream today, not a video, is because I'm knackered. I'm absolutely knackered. I'm tired. One of the reasons I'm doing a live stream today, let's see, is this audio playing okay? Yes. Okay. Check out the way. Everything should be okay now. Yeah, I kind of touched upon this in a video the other day, but I think I caught COVID, the coronavirus, and it was okay. I had a fever for a couple of days. I had to rest for like 4 or 5 days, and I'm feeling great now, back to normal. The only thing that's kind of holding me back now is just general tiredness. Like there was a few days there where I was getting a full night's sleep, and then I would go for a 2-hour nap. And today I was out in the garden doing something for like 5 minutes and I was exhausted. So I don't have the energy to do the video that I had planned. So as far as the videos that I had planned, I'm going to be doing a long video. It's probably going to be about 30 minutes or so, showing you the Realme XD Pro, where I show you the user interface, the camera app, performance, just talk about some things that I like and I don't like. So I'm hoping to do that tomorrow. That's what I'm hoping to do, but I'm too tired. But that's good because there's a few things I wanted to talk about in this live stream, and these are a few things I wasn't sure if I could do it in a regular video, so why not do it in a live stream? I will change the direction of the stream a little bit if you guys post any interesting stories or anything like that. But let's get to it. Okay, jump to the browser, here we go. So this is the first story. I've got 3 main stories, or 2 other phones I want to talk about, but this is the main kind of story at the start. I'll leave a link to all of these in the description area. You can read about these yourself. So this video relates to privacy, and it relates to Apple. And kind of a clickbait title here. Apple just gave 1.5 billion iPad, iPhone users a reason to leave. Kind of clickbaity. What I will say about this before I go on, this is about the voice assistant Siri. And what I will say is that this article is about Apple, but it could also be about Google or about Amazon or about any other tech company. I'm not trying to single out Apple here because all the major tech companies are guilty of this. And it's one of the reasons why I don't use voice assistants. I really just don't like the idea of people being able to listen in. So if you scroll down here, they've got an update with it here. But it says here, the Guardian broke a shocking story that Apple was employing contractors to listen and grade Siri recordings. This was done without the user's knowledge, and contractors heard confidential information from iPhone and iPad owners, including medical information, drug deals, and recordings of couples having sex. So Apple then issued a full apology. So that was old news. That's what happened in the past. But they go on to say that, where is it here? Sorry, I missed out that part. But now, according to the Guardian's whistleblower, we are learning that nothing has changed. Revealing his identity for the first time, Thomas Laboniek, is that how you say it? I don't know. A contractor employed to listen and grade Siri recordings has written to data protection regulators stating that Apple keeps ignoring and violating fundamental rights and continues their massive collection of data. I listen to hundreds of recordings every day from various Apple devices. These recordings were often taken outside of any activation of Siri, e.g. in the context of an actual intention from the user to activate it. These processings were made without users being aware of it and were gathered into datasets to connect the transcription of the recording made by the device. Now, as I said, I'm not a big fan of voice-activated services anyway. I see friends using it a lot. They use Siri and Alexa and different things to activate speakers. I've never really got into it. It's never really been a thing that I've got into. And I do appreciate that big tech companies at least have to listen to a small percentage of these recordings, from an efficiency, from an improvement point of view, in order to see what they can improve and improve the overall service. But that has to be opt-in. It has to be opt-in. It has to be, would you like to take part in this? You could be rewarded in some way with, iPhone, Apple Store credits or something like that. It has to be an opt-in service. What the this story is the fact that they are listening when people aren't even activating Siri. They are just listening in all the time. Now, they will have their own reasons, as I said, to try and improve the software and do things like that, but they're listening in without people knowing about it. That is a major concern. And I know that the headline here is about, you know, Apple just gave 1.5 billion iPhone users, but I think it would be very stupid to think that Amazon and Google and all these other tech companies aren't doing the same. So I never like reading stories like this, but this is something that kind of needs to be highlighted every now and then. It's something that has to be addressed at the highest level of government. I don't think tech companies can be allowed to get away from with this. You know, this guy isn't even an Apple employee. Not that that would make a major difference, but he's a contractor. By the sounds of it, he could easily just copy these recordings and do what he wants with them. So, yeah, there's a lot of questions that get raised with that kind of story, with that kind of whistleblow, I guess you could call it. I'll leave a link to this anyway. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. I don't like reading stuff like that, and it's another reminder why I don't use voice assistants. I'm not saying that as if Google isn't watching what I'm doing anyway, but yeah. So the other thing I'd like to talk about is the new Realme phone. So there's actually a couple of reviews out there. I saw Chris from Tech Tablets has got a full review of this already. The Realme XD Superzoom. So this is interesting to me, obviously, because, you know, I've just bought a Realme X50 Pro, but this new phone is coming out £100 cheaper in the UK. So it's not like an import from China. It's been sold in the UK, it's been sold in Europe, it's been sold around the world, and it's coming in at £100 cheaper, which, yes, is quite interesting. So if I jump back to the browser here, you can see it here. So this is the Realme XD Superzoom. From a design point of view, it looks identical to my phone. It's got the dual selfie camera at the front. You've got the quad camera at the back there. And, you know, you can tell by the name, the selling point here is the zoom. The 60, it supports 0.5x to 60 wide zoom range. And, you know, we've saw Huawei really focusing on zooming in the last few years, but you've also got the Xiaomi, like the Xiaomi Redmi K30 Pro Zoom. You know, where they're bringing out additions, I've got an extra, extra focal length so you can zoom in further in pictures. It's not really functionality I see myself using a lot, but I do realise that this is kind of bridging the gap towards cameras as well, and there's a lot of people that will use this. So this is the selling page about it, and there's a few key things to note here. Obviously, the 60 times super zoom, that's one of the biggest things. But the other big thing here is the display. So the Poco F2 and, you know, the K30 Pro and all that, most other Android phones are now have got a 60 Hz screen. Now, the one that I've got has got a 90 Hz screen. This one, which is £100 cheaper, has got a 120 Hz screen. Now, what this means is this is coming in a very, very low price point for a screen, for a phone with a screen with 120 Hz. Certainly cheaper than the OnePlus 8 Pro. The OnePlus 8 Pro is nearly twice the price of this. Now, you can see that this has got the 855 Plus, which is kind of the CPU that comes out in between the 855 and the 865. If you look at the results, it's not the Plus CPU that comes out towards the end of the year. It's nearly always kind of in between both of the CPUs. So really, this is a CPU that's only, you know, 6 months old or something. And then you've got the read and write speeds there up to 1500 megabytes per second. To kind of jump back to the X50 Pro here, I did a read and write test of this today, and I was getting reading about 1100 megabytes per second. So I'm not sure what circumstances those read speeds will change, etc. But it's still impressive that you're getting read speeds like that. And then you've got the 32 megabyte dual display selfie. So I'll leave a link to this as well. If you check out the specifications page, you'll get a better idea of what this is about. But for me, using the 855 Plus instead of 865 is not a deal breaker. The 855 Plus is still a beast, absolute beast of a CPU. So an 855 Plus, or even going back an 855, but certainly an 855 Plus would not put me off from buying a phone. So this is still going to be a powerhouse. powerhouse. I've heard both terms used. But you've got 60 times super zoom. That's obviously the big selling point. You can go up to 12 gigabytes and 256, or you can go for the 8 gigabyte and 128. You've got the 32 megapixel dual display selfie, and they've got the UFS 3.0, which is the SSD that's inside. If I go down here, we've got the 64 megapixel quad camera, 60 times super zoom, and you've got 64, you've got 8 megapixel periscope, 8 megapixel ultra wide, and then 2 megapixel macro lens. This is pretty impressive. You know, you can see at the back there as well, 4K at 30 or 60 frames per second, and it's 1080p at 30 frames per second with the front camera. So the way it works with the two, with the selfie camera at the front is you kind of need to choose which one you want to use before you start recording. But yeah, it's pretty good. So that is an interesting phone. And at this point, I'm not sure which I would recommend. It's got the same battery as the X50 Pro. It's got 30 watt charging. This has got 65 watts. But it is interesting. It is interesting that this is coming in at such a low price point. You know, £100 cheaper is, you know, is significantly cheaper. I do realise they're using an older CPU, but it's still quite surprising. I'll be honest, I'm not sure which one I would have went for, knowing that this one is out now. You know, if I hadn't ordered that, I'm not sure which one I would have went for. I'd maybe have been tempted to go for this one simply because it's cheaper. I don't know. Okay, so that out the way, the last phone that I wanted to tell you about is actually just hot off the press. I only saw it announced about an hour or so ago. Is the Moto G Pro. Now, the website that I've got it on is actually in Germany, and for the life of me, I can't seem to translate it in Firefox. I don't know why. It doesn't seem to be translating, so it's got it in German there. But you can see that it comes with a stylus, so it's kind of like a Samsung Note alternative. And there's not many like that in the market that actually still use a stylus, so that's quite interesting. Hi, Sean. Yeah, the Realme phone looks really good. I'll go over it at the end. I'll go back to the Realme at the end. The Moto G here, what I'll quickly do is jump over to my monitor. And if I can change to my monitor here, there we go. So I've effectively just went from Firefox to Chrome, but what this will allow me to do is translate the page in English. You can see with the 48 megapixel triple camera system, you can take photos anytime. Perfect to the point. I've not seen the price about this or anything like that yet. I've not seen anything like that. It looks like an interesting phone. I must admit, I'm quite interested in the way and the type of phones that Motorola are releasing. They're kind of targeting the mid-range, you know, the middle of the market rather than the top end of the market. And they're doing a lot of interesting things as well. As far as they're releasing all these phones, they'll get huge batteries and things like that. This one here, you can see it's got an integrated stylus. That's a big selling point for me. I think that's useful. It's got a triple camera, one of which is a 48 megapixel sensor, up to 2 days battery life with 4,000 milliamps. That makes me think this has got like a 765, a Snapdragon 765 CPU. Dolby Audio, fast performance, and 128 gigabytes of storage. I'm not sure if, let me see, does it got the, oh, there's a 665 processor, right? Okay, I hadn't checked that before. So that's surprising to me. That's definitely surprising to me. I thought they would have went for a 765. This is definitely a lower CPU, but that's maybe how they're getting the extra battery life. They maybe went for a CPU that, you know, can do that. 18 watt quick charger, 6.4 inch max vision display, IPS panel, USB Type C. So yeah, that's all the kind of specs there. So the sensors are 48 megapixel, 2 megapixel macro, and then 60 megapixel the distance. I mean, the big selling point here, is of course this integrated stylus. And there really isn't that many options right now if you want to buy an integrated stylus phone. It's the Samsung Note, that's it. So yeah, a couple of interesting options there. Sorry for the delay, guys. I just wanted to get through that. Is the Moto G Pro budget or mid-range? I my guess it's going to be a mid-range price because of that stylus. They will charge a premium for that stylus. I'm hoping it's not too expensive though. If it's quite cheap, I'd be tempted to use it. You might use Opera or Brave. As far as the browsers go, guys, I generally use Chrome just because it's easy to sync bookmarks and different things between devices. I know Chrome is an absolute resource hog. I realise it. I realise it's probably not the best privacy-wise. But what I normally do when I'm streaming or when I'm recording videos is I've got all my normal stuff on Chrome, and then I open up a dedicated browser with Firefox. So what you're seeing there is specifically for the stream, the stuff that's on the browser. I'll go back to the Realme briefly though, here. And it's quite interesting. I mean, I'd have to look at video reviews and things like that. But seeing as I generally look for a good camera when I'm looking for a phone. Certainly when I'm looking for my main phone, I'm looking for a good camera, one that can do decent videos and stuff. That would maybe make me gravitate towards that one rather than the X50 Pro. Plus you've got that 120 Hz screen. I don't know though. I'll need to look at reviews. I've still not looked at reviews of this yet, other than a couple of references and a couple of kind of small written reviews. I've not looked at the video review that Chris from Tech Tablets has done, for example, to see the quality. And I imagine that the video capability is going to be very similar to the X50 Pro, but there is a good argument for going for this instead of the X50 Pro because it's £100 cheaper. You've got the 120 Hz display, and you've still got dual selfie cameras and all that as well. So it's an interesting option. I mean, I don't think Realme's phones are for everyone. You know, this feels a little bit chunky to me, if I'm honest. But they're coming in at a very aggressive price point. Certainly more than their Oppo brand. So yeah, let me know what you think about it. So we can get the fastest mobile CPUs and phones for under £500 today. That's not the fastest one today, Splendid. The 855 Plus is actually kind of half a generation behind. The way that Snapdragon do it with their flagship CPU is like around the February, March, they release, say, the 855. Samsung normally use that in certain regions. I know they use the Xenos chip in certain regions. And then towards the end of the year, November, December, you'll start seeing some phones coming out with the 855 Plus. That's the CPU that you normally see with the OnePlus 7T, like their mid-year phone. That's the one that they release it in the middle of the year. But then a few months later, you'll see the 865. The reason I'm saying this is because the 855 Plus and the 845 Plus, etc., because it's at the tail end of the year, there tends to only be a couple of phones that actually use it. I don't know what Realme have done here. Maybe they've simply came across a bargain. They've worked out a deal. If I hide my face there, you can see it there, the Snapdragon 855 Plus. Maybe they've came across a really good deal where if they buy in bulk, they'll get a really good discount, and that's how they can get that lower price point. I suspect that's the case. Obviously it's going to be cheaper than 865. But they've got that 120 Hz display, which is kind of annoying that they never put into this one now when I think about it, because this is £100 more expensive. So why doesn't this one have it? I don't know. But any questions about that, guys? I'll probably tie up the stream. I'll make it a quick one today. But yeah, there is definitely some interesting phones coming out in the market. There's going to be some delays in certain phones this year, though. I saw that with Nokia's new phone that's coming out. That's going to be delayed. Maybe the Microsoft Surface Duo phone, the dual screen phone, that might be delayed as well. But there's definitely a lot of, there's a lot of interesting phones coming out this year, and we're going to see a lot of new interesting phones come out. Quad camera isn't a big surprise now. Even mid-range phones have quad cameras, so you might see phone companies do something different, like Motorola, where they'll do something where they incorporate a stylus. And we've seen like Xiaomi and a few different companies coming out with gaming phones as well, where they're just looking to be different from the norm, different from Apple, different from Samsung, etc. Taking risks that perhaps the larger companies won't take. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, guys, I'll leave it at that. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for posting comments. I'll speak to you all very soon, and stay tuned. I'm planning on doing it's not my full review, but basically a detailed look at this tomorrow, where I bring over the overhead camera, show you the user interface. Really, the video that I'm planning on doing for this tomorrow is for people that are thinking about buying the phone, because I want to show you the battery, I want to show you benchmarks, I want to show you gaming performance and different things, and really just talk about what it's like to actually use this as a phone. So yeah, stay tuned for that tomorrow. Hopefully get that out tomorrow. But thanks for tuning in, guys. I hope you're all staying safe, and I'll speak to you all very soon. Cheers, guys.